Hey, everybody, and welcome to the 1 Million Cent podcast. My name is Ryan Fontenot, your host, and I am so thankful that you've taken time out of your day to just stop and listen or watch wherever you may be. I want to remind you off the bat, man, our real simple goal of this podcast is to be part of seeing 1 million teens trained around the globe to share the gospel. So whether you are a teen listening, a student pastor, parent, or something completely different, we are so glad you're here. And we know that not only will we be equipping teens, but today you'll be equipped and encouraged as well. I am so excited for my guest today. He has become a great friend over the last 2-3 years together, and we have done camps together. I have been in his church with his students. God is doing a move at their ministry. As a matter of fact, their shirts say one simple thing: Jesus movement. And the moment I saw that, I knew we were on the same page. He's the student pastor, high school pastor at First Baptist Trustville in Trustville, Alabama. Would you guys welcome my friend Spencer? How's it going, my brother? Are you doing good today?
Ryan, it is always good to be with you. I'm doing well, dressed nice because I figured this podcast required the best. And so I put my suit and tie on.
Man, if you aren't watching, you want to get a load of this guy, man. There's nothing like a suited up student pastor. And
I think every successful student pastor wears suits.
You need one good suit, bro. That's all you need, man. One good suit.
Right.
And needless to say, he's got a tiger head in the background. You guys want to see this, I'm telling you. So we'll get into that here in a little bit, man, because there is a unique thing you guys do that I believe is an absolute hilarious just example of what y'all are willing to do to reach this next generation. So, man, thank you for being on today, man. I know you guys are at First Baptist Trustville. You've been there 4 years. You are married and you have 2 kiddos, man. Tell us a little bit about your family.
2 kids, yes. My wife Adele and I, we have been married 7 years. We celebrate our wedding anniversary every Disciple Now weekend. So always fun to celebrate with the kids. And we have 2 children, a 3-year-old named Lindy and a 9-month-old who weighs the same as the 3-year-old. And his name is Lambert. And so right now we're still not quite sleeping all the way through the night. So one day we will, and it'll be nice. But good little thing going. So
it happens, man. That's funny you mentioned your anniversary being in D-Now season. My anniversary is July 6th, so it's in the middle of every summer. And I'm like, who knew? When we got married, I wasn't doing student camps, but then here we are, man. We've made it 27 years, so I think we're gonna be all right, man. So
and there you go. And I know you treat her to a nice meal at whatever camp you're at.
Exactly,
that night.
Bro. I take her to dinner every time at camp. So, oh man. Well, thanks so much for being on here, man. I know you have an incredible team there at FBC Trustville, and it is always a joy. Seriously, some of my favorite camps over the last couple of years have been with you guys, his team, his leaders, his volunteers. Man, they knock it out of the park. So just right off the bat here, if you're trying to figure out how to do your own camp, call Spencer Jones. All right. I'm telling you, if he doesn't know how to do it, somebody there does, and he'll point you in their direction. All right.
Yeah, we'll make something up, and I'll get you somebody who knows something.
Hey, there you go. Well, man, let's start out this morning with some little bit of rapid fire questions back and forth. Get us warmed up, get us in the groove. So, Spencer Jones, are you a coffee guy? Are you an energy drink guy?
Neither. I'm a water guy. That gets me going.
Water guy gets you
ice
going.
Cold water.
Oh my God.
Ice cold
Do you add anything into it at all ever?
No, ice
Just
cubes.
Water. Ice water. Yes, ice cold water. Amen to that.
Water.
I agree. Okay. Well, speaking of that, then, are you a morning person? Or are you a midday guy? Or are you kind of a night owl? Which one? Where's your sweet spot?
Nighttime. I thrive at night.
Okay, man. Okay, there you go. And the babies haven't even affected that yet.
No, you would think they would, but I still can't go to bed before midnight. So
there you go. Okay, man. All right. Well, when it comes to traveling, when you have to go with your family, let's say, I know as a student pastor, you take different trips and stuff, but you and the family, would you prefer to drive or fly, man? Which one?
So I'm a big road trip guy. I love a good road trip, stopping at all the random places along the the side of the road. We actually went on a road trip not long ago, spur of the moment. We decided 2 days before we'd head to Chicago, and we drove up to Chicago, and you saw
Woo.
all kinds of sights. So
You
I'm a
and your
drive kind of
family. There you
guy.
go.
Well, there you go. Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's awesome, man. I love. Well, I have to say this. He did drop into Dallas not too long ago too, but he called me up. Hey, man, we're gonna be flying in early in the morning. Then we're gonna drive to Austin and then drive all the way back to Trussville. I was like, "What are you doing?" We'll get into that in a little bit. I
yeah,
was like,
there we
"Oh
go.
my
There we
word, oh my word." Hey, do you have a favorite season, man? Winter, spring, summer, fall? What's your jam?
Yeah, the older I'm getting, I don't know what it means about me, but I'm really starting to like fall a lot,
Okay,
and
all right.
I think it's the leaves. I really love seeing the
There
leaves
you go.
change, which scares me because I think that's an old
That
person thing.
that is a total tell right there, man. That's a tell. You are getting older, and I love it. I love
Yes,
it, man. I love it. Well, speaking of kind of leaves or mountains, what would you prefer? Are you a beach guy or are you a mountain guy, man? Where do you land on that?
I love the mountains. I
Okay.
could live in the mountains and
Yeah.
just never leave. So
Okay. All right, man. I love that. I love that, dude. That's awesome. Well, let's maybe your taste buds. Let's talk about some taste buds a little bit, man. When it comes
yeah,
to dessert, are you more of a pie guy? Are you the cake guy? Which one are you, bro?
I love dessert. Pie, lemon pie is my favorite,
There you
and
go.
so
Okay.
I have to lean. I have to lean that direction. So.
Lemon pie. So let me ask you, gas station, those lemon like pie deal, are those where it's at?
I used to back in my fat days. I would put those down like crazy,
Let's
and I
go.
still love them. They're a temptation for sure. So
Okay, man. All right. I love it. I love it. Well, let's get a little bit more spiritual here. When it comes to the Bible, now I know everybody, the answer is all of it. But do you lean more Old Testament guy, loving those stories, those narratives, all that? Are you more of a New Testament guy? Jesus is on the scene, letters to the church. Where do you kind of lean, bro?
man, that's tough because once again, like, I feel like this changed over time. Right now,
Oh,
especially, I'm really enjoying the Old Testament. I'm in the Old Testament, and I'm just read
there you go.
Ezra, and
There you go,
it was
man.
fascinating to me. So right now, I'm Old Testament guy.
Yeah, man, to watch the hand of God in all of these stories and in history, reading up to
Mhm.
the culmination in Christ, and now, man, yeah, for sure. Okay, okay, little Ezra, Nehemiah, that's good stuff
That's
right there, man.
right.
So,
That's right.
oh man, I love it. Well, okay, well, let's talk about the New Testament though for a minute. There are four Gospels: Matthew, Mark,
Mm.
Luke, and John. Hey, which one would be your favorite? If you're like, hey, if I had to pick out one, if I had to say, hey, this is kind of my favorite, they all write a little bit different. They all kind of capture the same story, but from their unique perspectives. Which guy is your guy?
I love John. John
All right.
just it gets to the point. It hits deep every time I read it.
Mm,
It's
yeah,
piercing, and they all are. But I mean, I don't know. John just it really strikes a nerve with me. Or
I
strikes
like
a nerve
it.
might be a bad thing, but
No, that's
I
good,
really
man.
really
Hey,
love really love John.
I
So
love that, dude. I love and John was the disciple that Jesus loved too. So there you go, man. Way to be like Jesus.
that's my goal. My
Hey,
goal.
by the way, have you seen that viral video of the guy who does the roll call? He goes,
Yes, that's
oh my
hilarious.
gosh, dude.
That is
Well, he
so
nails
good.
it, dude. Hey, if you
That
haven't
is
seen
so
that
good.
video, it's on my TikTok and on my Instagram. You should go check it out. Golly, dude, that is so funny. He does this roll call. I think he does Paul and Matthew and John and Peter and watch to the end because the end he nails it. It's awesome. So,
It's
or
so good.
should I say he slices it up? I don't know. So
Oh, that's
oh
good.
gosh. All right, man. Well, one last question before we jump into a little bit of conversation about reaching this next generation. And in this one, I don't want you to answer right now. I want to kind of save it for the end. This is kind of our specialty at the end. And but people want to know this about who we talk to. Is Spencer Jones? Are you a dog guy? Or
Mm.
are you a cat guy? Now, don't answer that, but and you may have a preference. I don't know, but we're gonna find out. So, do you have a preference? Is there a
Oh,
preference there?
there's a preference. I think
Okay.
anybody that doesn't have a
Okay.
preference has
Okay.
issues.
All
So
right. There is a preference. So, right now, whether you're watching this or listening, if you're able to drop a comment, why don't you let us know what you think? Do you think Spencer Jones is a dog guy or a cat guy? We'll circle back and see if you nailed it or not. Well, man, thanks so much for being on here with us. I'm excited to have this conversation because, as I alluded to at the beginning, I know y'all have a statement, and I have one of your sweatshirts. I was wearing it yesterday, as a matter of fact. Jesus movement, man, and I know that's your heartbeat. But listen, here's the cool thing: we can all slap slogans on stuff, but when
Mm-hmm.
you actually see it happening, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
whole different animal. So tell me a little bit about where you are at First Baptist Trustful and what you do in your specific role.
Yeah. So, First Baptist Chelsea, you mentioned a minute ago, I work with high schools specifically. We have a fantastic team here. We've got a middle school minister, we've got a girls minister, and two girls ministers, and then a another associate. And it's it's just been a blessing to see. It's been a long play, I would say, as far
Mm-hmm.
as you want God to move and you seek God to move. And for us, it came 2 years ago, and we were kind of just tired of we can do the big events, we could throw the big events, we can make them look awesome, have all the lights, the great band, speaker, all those things. We can do all the logistics and details with excellence, but we weren't relying fully on the Spirit of God and
Mm,
relying a lot on past success, past talents,
mm.
and God kind of broke us through uh, specifically when our buddy Wade Morris passed away.
Yeah, yeah,
It really hit hard the sense of urgency that there is for the
yeah,
gospel,
yeah.
and that we were going into our disciple now back in, I guess, 2021, and just felt that that was what we needed to be talking about. And
Yeah.
but we also at the same time, the Long Hollow revival had started, and me and
Mm.
another buddy were listening to podcasts, and that kind of hit me. I was like, are we praying for revival? Are we praying for a move of God?
Yeah.
Or are we just praying for numbers of kids and fun
Wow.
things? And so we started we got a group of men together in our church. It started out small, and I'm
Mm.
talking like businessmen, all ages. We've got a retired pastor in there with us, and just incredible wisdom that he brings to us. And every Tuesday morning for now 2 years, every Tuesday morning, from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, we are praying together. Um, and it's very specific prayers. It's not a Bible study. It's not a time of just socializing. It's we come in there and we
Yeah.
pray for specific things to happen.
Mm.
Last year was praying. We wanted to see a dad of a student come to know Jesus. It was
Mm.
one of our prayer requests one week, and
Yeah.
we saw an 86-year-old man come to know Jesus. We saw all kinds of different age ranges of people come to know Jesus
Yeah.
through this. And so God's been moving a lot lately here, stirring up our students in our city. We're a small
Yeah.
town. We have, I say small, we're 30,000
Yeah.
people, but we're all around one school pretty much,
Mm.
and we are being able to see God move within the school system
Mm-hmm.
because of what He's doing in these kids' lives, and I relate this back. Everything we're going to talk about uh, is because of prayer. It truly
Yeah.
is because of praying the Word of God and
Yeah.
having men and women around you who are praying the same visions and same things that you are.
Yeah.
I think is
Yep.
just absolutely critical for this Jesus movement. And so, back to
Mm.
your Jesus movement thing, that has become less of a slogan and more of what we truly is our prayer. We
Yeah.
see it all around town in church and stuff, that we are praying that we want to be a part of the next big Jesus movement
Mm.
that happens. And so we're still expecting God to do more,
It's right.
and super excited because I know He's going to do more. So.
Yeah. Yeah, man, and being around your students, your leaders at camp, and then also in your city has just been just seeing it, man. You see it firsthand. I love seeing the posts. I know you just got out of D now, and you saw, man, God just move again, and that's it, man. One at a time. But one thing you said, hey, we had to ask ourselves: Are we praying for numbers? Or are we really praying for a move of God? And that is so
Mhm,
key because I think
mhm.
everybody wants the numbers, right? Everybody wants to get numerically bigger, but do you want to see a move of God? And that's the real question in prayer. We're going to
Yeah.
circle back to prayer here in a minute, but you said you've been at Trustful for 4 years, man. Can you kind of tell us your journey from? And this will be real quick snapshots, man. I was saved at this time, called the ministry
Yep.
here, served here, and now I'm here
Yep.
because there are
Yeah.
students watching. There are even adults watching. Hey, I feel this pull, this tug of God on my life. How did this dude get it?
Mhm.
High school pastor at First Trustful. Tell us your story a little bit.
Yeah, so grew up in a church home, and dad was actually youth pastor for 29 years. But I accepted Jesus as Lord of my life when I was about 11 years old, and
Okay.
then really started feeling a call to ministry, which I didn't really know exactly what that meant in 10th grade,
Yeah.
11th grade, and
Okay.
it was 10th grade. And then started kind of fleshing that out. And then in college, I took opportunities, and I speak this all the time to our students, like work a camp, do an internship, go on a mission trip for summer, expose yourself to those things.
Yeah.
And God really, my freshman year, I worked at a camp out in California, being a raft guide and doing some other stuff at Christian camp, and it just super challenged me, but also made me grow more in love with working with students.
Yeah.
Then the next 2 summers, I interned at different churches. First Baptist Opelika, my home church, great church, interned there, and then First Baptist Montgomery, Alabama, which is where I ended up taking my first job as an associate student pastor there, making $2 an hour and
Yeah, you did.
living in a very scary part of town. But hey, that's what you got to do.
That's
And
right,
so,
bro.
and from Montgomery, God called us out to First Baptist Houston, where I was the high school minister out there with Justin Holcomb and Tony
Yeah.
Bianco and some guys out there that just some great
Yeah.
people learning
Yeah.
under some fantastic people out there. And so and then out there, wasn't looking to go anywhere, didn't have a resume out, nothing like that. And God then opened this door here at Trustful. I got a call from our pastor here and said, "Hey, would you possibly be interested?" And I was like, "Well, maybe." And so we started praying about it, and God opened this door. And
Wow.
this is close to home for us as well. We grew up in Auburn, so it's only 2 hours from here. So
Cool.
God just really made it clear that this is where we needed to be, and it's been it's been a cool journey so far.
That's awesome, man. I love all of that, man. And I want you to circle back real quick. And you said you always tell students it's about, those opportunities. So tell us about that, man, because as people's feeling, sometimes they're like, hey, man, well, I feel like God's called me to ministry, so I'm going to wait for that, job, right? I'm going to wait for that paying gig, whatever you want to call it, whatever people call it, right? But it's bigger than that, right? When you have a call in your life, take those opportunities. Tell us a little bit about that, man.
Yeah, you're going to take opportunities that, one, they don't pay a lot. Obviously, if you're getting in this profession, money. Now, hey, I'm all about. I love money. Don't get me wrong on that. But you're getting in this job knowing that I'm not going to probably have a huge lake house and 2 other houses and drive the nicest cars. But the calling is so important, and you've talked about this. There's going to be hard times in your ministry where you really wonder, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, am I really? But there's also that tension of, I know this is what God has called me to do.
Right.
And in those summers, I learned that I worked, it was a camp in Kidder Creek. It was outdoor showers or outdoor sleeping, outdoor showers. And it was a whole summer of it okay, you're not making money, but you're really learning dependence upon God. And then in those internships, and this is something that's also true in those internships, what I always learned from good leadership and bad leadership under those internships was your job title never needs to define your work ethic. So just because you're the head guy or you're the head whatever, you're not above cleaning coolers. You're not above going to Sam's Club to pick up the order. I did that last week. And, you've got to be willing to do the dirty work as well, because we all know Jesus models it. Jesus came to serve, not to be served. And so we can't expect to not do that in ministry and not do that in whatever position you are. So learning that in those internships was huge, that, hey, you got to bust your tail sometimes.
That's right, man. Yeah. People think, people get into ministry. A lot of times they think, because I say people think people get into ministry because, oh, it's easy. You work 1 day a week, 2 days a week, whatever. I don't know any minister that does that. So if you find them, let me know, because that's not how it goes.
And if you do find them, I can guarantee you the ministry is not doing very well.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's good for anybody out there, is just like, man, how do I get involved, impacting students, walking out this call? It's looking for those opportunities, and it's actually just doing the work, and I say it's like this, Spencer, it's like living with your yes on the table. It's like, yes, Lord, my answer, the only answer I have for you is yes to whatever, wherever, whenever, Lord, I'm yours. And so I know when it comes to reaching the next generation, man, y'all have a huge passion for that, or you wouldn't be in high school ministry. And I do believe high school ministry is that kind of, man, it's that last kind of tier, because stats tell us if we don't get them by the time they turn the tassel at high school graduation, the likelihood we ever will drastically drops off. I think it's what 70+% of everyone who ever comes to Jesus does so by their 18th birthday. So I think your area of ministry specifically is kind of this last line of hope, if you will. And so in this Jesus movement, I know that's not you and Matt just out there doing it all, right? How are you seeing students equipped? How are you seeing them trained? How are you seeing students kind of own this and live that faith out?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is the key part of it, is the students have to realize their role in this. Like with Matthew 28, our role is not, we're not the ones going in their school systems.
Right.
We preach this as youth pastors. That's the thing we preach all the time. Your school is your mission field. And when we did the training, if you remember back at camp, we did the emoji evangelism training that 1 Million Cent's also doing. And so, and you did that, and some of our students led their friends to Christ. Remember, we had 6 kids lead their friends to Christ through that. And I was like, what is happening? Right at camp.
Yes.
And we have really taken that, and kudos to you guys for, I don't know, I assume y'all created that stuff, and we have really latched onto that. And in every Sunday school classroom, in our sermon series, we've got huge boards with those steps, and everybody has the bands. We've created these bands to give them out so that it's easy to have these conversations. And one thing that we're doing that we're seeing kids being able to own it is in our Sunday school setup. At the beginning of their Sunday school classes, is one of the kids gets up and has to share the bracelet with the classroom, because if they aren't willing to share it with their kids in their Sunday school class, they're definitely not going to share it in the hallway or classrooms. And so seeing kids own that, seeing kids be able to come up on stage if we call them to, hey, come share this gospel with us, come share the gospel with it. It's so cool to see that, hey, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to memorize every single passage of scripture to be able to share the gospel. It's as simple as this. And so that has been really cool watching them own that. And I've got a story for later talking about, something we've seen recently.
Oh man, I love it.
It's super cool.
Oh, dude, I love that. I forgot you had shared that with me before about, hey, before you start every small groups, hey, get up and somebody share the gospel. And you're right, man. If they won't share it in that space, they probably won't share it outside of that space. And so having them practice, right? It's one of the things that I tell people, like, how do you get good at sharing the gospel? I'm like, practice. Like, you've got to practice. And that sounds so unspiritual, but it's spiritual, right? We're to work this thing out, walk this thing out. And so I love the fact that y'all have kind of wove this through all the different areas of your ministry. And I would tell anybody who wants to know more about that, just go to 1millioncent.com. You can see what Spencer's talking about. Obviously, we have free training, free resources there available for you. So if you're a student pastor listening, you're a parent listening, by the way, parents, don't just farm this out to the student pastors. How awesome would it be if you took the lead on training your kids on how to share the gospel? And so, but parent, student pastor, whatever, go check out 1millioncent.com. Free resources there. Any way we can help you, obviously reach out. We'd love to resource you and equip you so that you can truly help in this process. Because I do believe, Spencer, man, if we're going to see a Jesus movement, it can be because me and you got on the stage with lights and a mic, right? It's going to be students taking it to the streets, to the schools, to the hallways, to the classrooms. And so, man, I love what you guys are doing. But maybe some students are sitting here and they're going, man, I know I should, I know I need to, I know I ought to be about this, but I don't even know where to get started. So what would be maybe a good first step you would tell a student if they're going, hey, I want to tell my friends about Jesus, but where do I start?
Yeah, I think one is you need to familiarize yourself with whichever way of presenting the gospel you're going to use, so that you can kind of, really study it, really own it, and be able to talk about it with some intelligence.
Right.
But I think starting with practice, start start with your parents. One, your parents
Mm.
aren't going to, they're not going to make fun of you.
That's right. Yeah.
They'll be, if anything, they'll be encouraged and challenged by that. So start
Yeah.
sharing. Like I'm using this bracelet as our example, just because that's where
Mm-hmm.
we're at right now. But go home and start with, okay, well, what does this heart mean? What is the division sign mean? What does the cross mean? What is the
Mm-hmm.
question mark? And
Yeah.
start with there. But then after that, I would go to your close group of friends, and I wouldn't just make it you alone. I would challenge your buddies in your group, your tight friends.
Yes.
Hey, let's try to learn this together. Let's go at it
Mm.
together. And you obviously the multiplication of three of y'all going out instead of just one
Yeah.
is it's crazy. And so
Yeah.
start small. Don't worry about having to go and tell every single person you see right off the bat. Start small with that best friend, maybe that's all that that doesn't know Jesus, and just open
Yeah.
up the conversation door. I think so
Yeah.
often we feel like we got to come in there and just shove Jesus down their throat right off the bat. I think it's relationships are so key when
Mm.
sharing the gospel with your close buddies and those friends. So
I love that, man. That's some real That's why we do this right here, guys. Real practical, simple stuff. If your family loves Jesus, share with your mom and dad. You got friends that
mhm.
know Jesus, say, hey, let's do this together, and then identify that person that you need to tell, and just take that step out. And I love what you just said right there. Relationship is key. I believe the
Mhm.
gospel is best shared in
Mhm.
relationship. I don't think that's the only place you share it, but I do think it's best shared in relationships. And so, man, thank you for those. That's when you know this guy's the real deal. That's when you know he's a student pastor, right? Because he can drop these practical tips like, let me give you 3 things, students. And so thank you for sharing that, man. Well, hey, one of the things that we love about this is getting to share stories. And you alluded to, man, maybe you have a story that you'd like to share about
Yeah.
what I say, a student who just got it, right? You were like, oh, they got it, and this happened. So, and share with us. You guys are doing this. You guys are training your kids. Tell us about a student that happened with.
Yeah. So 2 weeks ago, we'll go back 2 weeks ago. We had uh, three senior guys, and they're all friends, but they didn't know they were doing this at the same time. They've been
Okay.
praying for two different buddies, and they've tried to share the gospel with these buddies
Mm-hmm.
before.
Mm-hmm.
They have invited them to church. They've invited them to camp. They've invited them to all these things.
Right.
And I get a text at like 11:30 the night before Disciple Now is about to happen 2 weeks ago,
You're like,
and
oh
they say,
no.
"Hey, no, never. It's always nerve wracking."
Yeah,
And they say,
that's
"Hey,
right.
you're not going to believe this. These two guys are coming to camp." So that was from one kid, and then the other two boys realized that that he was coming to camp. So they all been praying for these two boys, but didn't know they were all praying for each other.
Mm.
And so they come to camp, or they come to Disciple Now, and uh, these are senior boys who are not
Okay.
the boys who came. They're senior boys, no church background, uh, like strong
Yeah.
seeking, smart guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And during the last session, the invitation was given, and it was the coolest thing. Is I think multiple things here. So the boys had to walk. They were sitting in the center aisle, or they were
Mm-hmm.
sitting in the center of the pew, and had to
Mm-hmm.
walk over their friends to walk down the aisle.
Come on.
And two of those guys got up and walked down the aisle.
Come on.
And these other guys are just like, they're really shocked. I think they were
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
"We've prayed
that's right.
before, didn't really think God actually heard these prayers." And
Yes.
to see the faith that was really built up in these kids who
Man.
have been praying specifically for
Yes.
lost kids is insane, because it was in their journals. The name was in their journals. They afterwards, everybody left the sanctuary, and those two of those boys were sitting there and they were crying. And I don't do well with
Wow.
crying. And but I walked up to,
Yeah.
I was like, "What's up, fellas?" And they're like, "Look, like," and they pulled open their journal, or he pulled open his journal, and he's like, "These are the names of the kids I wrote right here on this date
Wow.
that I've been praying for them to come to know Jesus." And just the importance of specific prayers. I can't emphasize that enough. Of That's something that
Yes.
we talked about it earlier. Our
Yep.
church, we really believe that it's got to be through prayer. We had a
Yeah.
24-hour pray. I guess you call it a prayer-a-thon. We had people in our sanctuary for 24 straight hours praying over the pews and praying over lost kids. We have all the kids' names printed out,
Mm.
and it was just cool to see how those kids who've been sharing the gospel and being rejected time and time
Yes.
again
Yes.
for almost
Yes.
a year, finally got to see something, which that might not happen for everyone. And
Yeah.
it was just one of those things as a youth pastor, you're like, okay, this is what it's about. This is what
Man,
it's
and
about.
not only will those boys who were saved obviously be eternally forever changed, but those boys who brought them, prayed for them, labored, invited them, man, they're going to be forever changed. Their faith is stirred up. And that's, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that's what getting in the game of sharing the gospel does. It stirs you up. It keeps you dependent. When you see God answers prayers, it ignites your faith. I mean, I'm telling you, there's nothing that'll help you grow like getting serious about sharing the gospel. And when it comes to prayer, let me just say, if you'll go to 1millionsent.com. We have a free prayer resource on there as well called the 7 Live Sent Prayers. And we want to encourage you. These are just simple prayers you can start praying that'll stir your heart up to share the gospel where you are. And I agree with you, Spencer. Prayer is the power. When we pray, we see God move and work like never before. There's a mystery to it. I don't understand it all, but I'm just thankful for it. The Lord said, pray without ceasing. So let's do that. So,
Absolutely.
Hey, Spencer, I know as people have listened here today, man, I want to thank you for your time, but somebody has been going, hey, man, I need to get in touch with that guy. Something you said, something that connected with you. Hey, what's the best way for somebody who wants to reach out and say, hey, can you help me with this? Or can you tell me what y'all do here? What's the best way for people to catch up with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Shoot me an email. You can go to our church website, fbctrustful.org, or you can email me, Spencer, SPENCERJ, at fbctrustful.org. And would
Cool.
love to catch up and talk anytime.
Awesome, man. And we'll drop those in the notes as well so you guys can connect with him. Spencer, I'm so thankful, man, for what God's doing. I'm honored to be a part of it. I'm a little bummed, man. Our dates did not work out this summer, but 2024, man, we're in. We got it
That's
locked
it.
and loaded. I'm excited to be back with you guys, man. So
Ready
pumped.
to go.
And
I'll have you a mascot costume to wear for you when you
let's go. That's right. That's right, man. Hey, real quick. I'm glad you said that. How many mascot costumes do y'all have now?
Lord, we started a mascot ministry. We probably got now about 15 to 20 mascots. That it's weird. I did a little professional mascotting back in the day, and it's carried over into student ministry, and kids love it. So,
Man, we're gonna have to come back and do a whole nother episode on the mascot ministry. That's why I actually flew into Dallas. They flew into Dallas, drove to Austin because a mascot store was shutting down,
that's
bought mascots, right, and drove
right.
back to Trussville,
Yep.
right?
Two men in a van with a bunch of mascots tied to the ceiling. A little questionable.
I'm not sure, man. I'm just so glad y'all didn't get pulled over because I would have had to
Me
come
too.
bail you out, bro.
Me
Hey,
too.
before we jump off here, man, we got to circle back real quick. And that is to this, my brother. Is Spencer Jones a dog guy or a cat guy? Let's go.
Well, cats are from Satan, so it's easy. Dog guy. I don't think anybody that answers cat is. We need
That's
to check
right.
their
That's right.
hearts need to be.
We're probably gonna not drop their episode if they say kitty cat. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So that's
That's
funny.
right. You
No,
shouldn't be
that's
friends with
awesome.
them.
Do you have a dog?
I don't. I actually don't have a
Okay,
dog right now.
not
We've
yet.
thought about it though. We have thought about
That's
it.
right.
So
But you do have 2 kids, and that means you're
yeah,
gonna have a dog sooner than later.
that's right. That's right. I'm just trying to feed them right now and then keep them alive. So
Amen. Oh gosh, man. Amen. Well, Spencer, it's always a joy, man, just to catch up. Thank you for your time today. And I just want to tell everybody who's listening or watching, thank you for joining in. Hey, if we can help you in any way, reach out to us, shoot us a message. We would love to help you grow in sharing your faith and help give you some resources to do that as well. We believe that teens are the ones who are going to see the Jesus movement happen in their lifetime. If we equip them and we empower them, the Holy Spirit will send them. And so let's stay at it. Thank you for listening to the 1 Million Cent podcast today. Make sure you like it, you subscribe, you rate it, you share it out, because I promise you there's someone in your world who needs to hear something that was shared today. And don't forget this, today, yes, today is a great day to tell someone about Jesus. So let's go.